a minute
Let's
or
say
two.
hi to everyone. Let's say hi to everyone. And I think my request is that to all the participants who are joining us today, please do feel free to share your insights on what will it take for us to be successful from the next decade perspective. And it's always wonderful to actually get a lot of insights from all the people who are coming from various parts of the country, various parts of the world rather, so that the diversity in the thought process can help us to navigate this decade even better than what me and Harsh think will be the most essential things. So please feel free to use the chat box and use it very democratically, and we will try to imbibe a few ideas that we borrow from you as an inspiration.
Wow, that's a nice way to put it. And the topic for today, welcome everyone, is tech essentials for navigating the future. And as we all know, we were uh, introduced to COVID last year, and this is the new normal. So, apart from what was happening in the new normal, there is this Industry 4.0 which is coming in. There is a lot of pressure on Gen Z to really step up and move up. And today, as a thought leader, um, there are a lot of questions which come to us. Where do we go? How do we see the future? How do we navigate? Now, that's the thought leader question, but there are other questions also for a person who is into this industry. Where's my future? How is it going? What is that which is needed for my organization to make it successful? So all these culminate into good navigation skills. And what are those essentials which actually would take us through is what we are going to discuss with Anoop. And as Anoop said before, feel absolutely free to put your questions on the chat. And we are going to have a 10-minute to 15-minute Q&A. Please feel free to chat up with us and talk. Anoop is very affable. Huge respect for him. I know him from the last, I think, 15 years since my career. So a quick round of introduction about Anoop. Anoop is the country head services sales for HPE, one of the leaders in transformation projects. Anoop has headed several teams. He was based out of Mumbai, then he moved to Delhi. Anoop has dealt extensively with different industry like manufacturing, telecom, banks, railways, government entities. So there's that good, rich experience Anoop has, not only in interacting with these individuals and CXOs, but also fixing challenges. Okay, so Anup, I'll come straight to you now. I wanted to know, so what's your story like? If you can just take us through, how you have come here as a leader with HP. What has been your journey so far? Then we can take
Thank
it from.
you. Sure, sure, Harsh. So I think my career started close to around 22 years back when I started with the technology industry, and I think that happened by accident. I used to work for a fashion designing institute, which decided to venture into computer education. And little did I know at that point of time that my career will shape out to be in the world of technology. And little did I know that technology will be something which will be touching fields as diverse as fashion, which is happening right
So
now.
fashion designing to
To
computers,
IT, correct. So
right?
it's like from this corner to this corner. So that's how the career started. The most amazing part is, and I still recollect my conversation with my fellow faculty members in the year 1997 when I asked them that, can you help me to demystify technology? Can you help me to understand what does HTML mean? What does C++ mean? What does Java mean? And trust me, the best of the faculty members were actually struggling with it. And I think that was a time when I spotted the most amazing thing about technology, that technology looks very complex, but one needs to make it simple to understand, and then only you can possibly make that mass appeal and get people excited about technology. So that was the first task in my first job, to demystify technology and help people understand what is the potential of e-commerce. 1997, when we used to connect on modems, it was very difficult to actually get a connection established. So it used to keep blinking, ping, ping, ping. Okay, all those red and amber lights. So I think from there, once I understood how to demystify technology, I was able to understand that the future of technology lies in how we will create amazing experiences for people. And that is the only way technology will be appreciated, will be used, or will be utilized by people. And even as on today, the same philosophy continues for me, because from a services industry mindset, I think nothing has changed. What remains absolutely essential for every technologist, or I would rather say the trilogy of a technologist's life, is to make sure that they ideate, innovate, and co-create, because technology cannot live in a world of isolation. So in a world like today, when we are looking at
So
how do we try
hold on
and,
here.
yeah,
You're giving too many ideas. So ideate,
yeah,
innovate, and co-create. So
co-create,
that's what
yeah.
I see. So before we move forward, are there any examples of any projects which you know of, or any incidences where you came across this philosophy? Because this is original soundtrack. I know that you've
Yeah.
not really pulled it from somebody. This is your story. So are there any examples on the way which actually got you to think about these three things: ideate, innovate, and co-create?
Yeah, so quite a few of them. I will narrate these experiences from two of different and diverse groups of customers that I worked for. So the first one goes back around a decade and a half back, when I was working with a few customers who were looking at innovative communication technology solutions. Now, at that point of time, most of the customers used to look at only one single mode of connectivity from a connectivity stability perspective, and they were very fixated that they wanted to experiment with only one type of connectivity which they knew of, which used to be predominantly the lease lines, the permanent dedicated connections, which were very, very expensive. And when I got into it, I realized that it is not something which can be so static. Rather, we should be looking at combination of technologies. We should be looking at technologies as internet connectivity, technologies as satellite communication, and technologies which will not only help to broadcast but also to multicast. So that was the time when we created a mix of technologies from a communication point of view. And today, I can say that lease lines do not exist. MPLS is by default the choice of people. ISDN does not exist. Internet has become 4G, 5G. We are all talking about massive speeds now, and that has become reality, because in those days nobody used to think that we'll be able to pump in so much of wireless connectivity. And now, if you see, there are people who are talking about 5G through the sky, so which means satellite communication is coming back with massive speeds from a 5G perspective by creating those nano satellites in the stratosphere and then connecting and pumping those kind of speeds. That's one experience. The other is for a railway customer, where we worked with the customer to understand how technology will be able to really benefit them. So the requirement was limited only to a particular set of transformation for some part of the compute infrastructure. Whereas when we went in there, we said that we have to look at a horizon of next 10 years, because the same infrastructure that we are creating should sustain for next 10 years and should be able to give you the lever of growth from a 10 years perspective. And this is the time when we actually started looking at how technology should not be limited to only the IT infrastructure perspective, but should touch applications, should touch the application requirements, should touch the user requirements, should touch the physical constraints that will come up when you're trying to deploy such a technology solution, and then create a mitigation plan around these challenges, and then create a blueprint for next 10 years in mind. Sometimes it might look very crazy when you talk about next 10 years, and sometimes we may become too conservative when we look at the next 10 years. My suggestion to all the people in the world of technology, whether as a user, as a seller, as a partner, or as somebody who want to ideate, co-create, and innovate in the same spirit, is that one, do not think that your solution is the only and the best fit solution. Rather, always go back to people, partners, customers, or competitors also, rather, sometimes, to look at what are the best possible solution learnings that can be implemented, wherein this co-create thing comes up. Ideate, because sometimes some of the solutions may not be present at that point of time. So you need to now go back and get back to the sketching board, and then decide that what are the technologies which may come up in future, do not exist as of now, but we should keep an eye on them, so that in the transformation journey, we are able to use them at the right time. And once you've done that, then think beyond the boundaries, break all the boundaries, and then think about innovation. And when I say innovation, this is about things which are not even possible today, which we can't even envisage today. And when you think about such things, that is the time when you start thinking about how technology will be able to transform you. For an example, like in this decade, sorry, I'll just take 10 more
Yeah,
seconds to
please.
complete my viewpoint, is that how many of us are today thinking about technobiology? How many of us are thinking about automation from a robots perspective, from an end-to-end robots utilization into our smart factories? Or how many people are thinking about not only smart cities, but adaptable, smartest cities, which will be able to adapt themselves and evolve in such a manner such that they will make absolute sense for everyone all the way around. So that is where I think people have to look at all these three fundamental points from a technology's perspective.
So here was, well, and thank you for taking the cue and exactly answering my question, which I was going to speak. But I'll just twist it a little bit. And we are talking about challenges of today. So and more often than not, the challenges of today are mindset driven. Whatever you spoke, biotech, biology and tech, robotics, be it machine learning or AI. There is a basic mindset which needs to change. So, what are the things and what are the challenges today? Why can't we think open? I mean, everyone I know who is, a good, technocrat and a leader comes and talks about opening the mindset. So, if everybody is talking about opening the mindset, what is
But it's not
stopping us?
happening.
Why isn't it happening?
So I think there are two major constraints in doing that. One is dollars, and that's where the fundamental shift is happening now in the IT industry to cope up with that. And I think I will share a few insights about that as we speak. So one is dollars, because ideas are good, but for execution you need money. And most of the times when you go back to the management, they would rather say कि काम चला लेते हैं यार उसके बाद में देखेंगे. Innovation is often discussed only on white papers, only on blueprint discussions, only with the consultants. It is not implemented most of the times, and the reason for that is because budgets are tight, and that's the reason that the entire conversation has to move from capex to opex if it has to move to innovation side. That is the first issue. The second issue is that, and the second constraint rather, is our limitation of thinking. So in technology, as we know, the things are moving very fast, and I think there is a fundamental shift which happened in the last 5 years. Before 5 years, which means half of this decade, I think users or the consumer side used to borrow ideas from the enterprise world. And in last 5 years, it has actually flipped. Now we are all borrowing ideas from the consumer world, open systems, open operating systems, open databases, everything moving to open standards and open stack is a new narrative which has actually come from the consumer side of it. And now enterprises are adapting or adopting it. My viewpoint on this is that from a constraint perspective, by the time your innovation project gets an approval, your budgets are already gone, because by the time a new technology has come up, and nowadays because consumers are staying ahead, so users will come back and demand more. And since you got an approval only for doing something which is n-1, you are again and again getting into that loop of how do you try and remove that -1 from n-1 and move to the nth technology from that viewpoint. So I think these are the two major constraints.
Okay, and this is the physical constraints. One is the dollar, and other is it's a shift from mass production. It's gone to mass customization. We have something called citizen development, where normal person who doesn't know coding can do coding. So there's a lot of shift here. To your knowledge, what is the tech outlook for the current year, and where are the challenges that will come through? It's a very broad question, but
Yeah.
I leave it to you. The question is, what is the tech outlook you see in 2021, and where do you see challenges coming up?
So I think the most wonderful thing about 2021 is that, as we say generally in the language or in the acronyms that we use in the world of technology, that there are versions, right? So there is version 1.0, 1.1. I will say this is a beautiful time because it is version 2.0, 2.1. So this is the best time because one important thing which has happened in the COVID times is that the intervention of technology has now not only being appreciated, but is also being liked by the users, by the people who are demanding it now. So gone are the days when we were thinking about the new technologies and going back to users and say this will actually suit your requirement. Now users are coming back and saying I want this project to be implemented. And that is where two fundamental things are changing from 2.0 to 1 perspective, as well as I think this trend will continue for a period of next 5 to 7 years, and maybe to the extent of the entire decade itself. Uh, these fundamental changes which are happening is, as I said, that things have to move from capex to opex, which means that from an infrastructure point of view, the dependency has to be removed, and that is the reason people are moving to cloud. And now people will demand more and more transparency when they move to cloud, and that is where there are some path breaking solutions which are coming in from companies like HPE, where I work for. Where we have already come out with a solution like HPE Greenlake, which helps you to survive in a multi-cloud environment. You can use, you can monitor your usage, you can automate, you can orchestrate your workloads, no matter what kind of cloud you would want to be on, as well as also maintaining a profile which will be on the premises. And whether you do it within the premises or you do it off the premises, you will be able to use it on a OPEX basis at any point of time, which means it provides you cloud kind of flexibility on premises, as well as also ensure that you are able to use multiple cloud environments. On the application front, a massive change which is happening is, and I think that's where your company is one of the, I can say, pathfinders in that direction, for people like me who sold courses of Java, C++, etc., but were always worried that why application should have a different language. Why, if somebody is creative, he or she should not be able to experiment with technology, play with technology, implement technology based on ideation, rather than worrying about whether the code that I'm writing is right or not, whether the code that I've written is creating loops or not. And I think that is where things like no code development of applications will evolve and will help massively the users in terms of experimenting with their ideas and creating applications much faster. And that's where, if you recollect when I said that the major gap that comes across as of time is the time of implementation of the technology. So by the time you ideate, by the time you create, and by the time you implement, by the time the utility of that application is already gone. And I think that's where the application side story is being completed by companies like WEM, who can help people to create applications in a faster environment. On the infrastructure side, Azure, AWS, GCP, and HPE Greenlake, which is helping to weave a story around all these three people, as well as give people the flexibility from a data privacy and protection perspective to give them an on-premises kind of environment with a true flexibility and transparency. These two constraints are being removed by these two companies in a massive manner. Parallelly, I think the third important constraint, which is outside of these two, is another one big constraint, and that is when you are thinking about technology, will it be only limited to these kind of environments, or should we look at in the next 3 years from the 7 years timeline that I spoke about, from a 10 years perspective? Maybe by the time the natural language processing will actually come into play, and I'm sure with the vernacular languages coding coming up in country, and maybe you guys can take a lead in that to enable people from different countries and different geographies within the same country to come out and just create applications in a beautiful manner without thinking about coding languages, etc., etc. It should be drag and drop, it should be voice oriented, it should be speech enabled. So I think the future is just amazing, and I'm just super excited about it.
Thank you. And my tail is wagging when I heard you speak about WEM. And yes, WEM has got a language. We've got about 26 languages which we can do, and it's a simple drag and drop. So it's a very versatile and robust platform. Coming to HP Greenlake, it's such a super story. Such a powerful thing. What are the objections which sometimes customers tend to have, and what is the resistance you're facing? Because this is such a solid story. So what is that you would like to, position and state forth on these objections?
Yeah. So there is no objection, no challenge. let me just tell you, there is no objection, no challenge. It's only whether people are aware of it or not. So the moment anybody comes to know of it, and I think I'll take this unique opportunity of telling all the participants today who have joined us, please read a little more about our platform HP Greenlake. See the beautiful videos on YouTube about HP Greenlake Central and the capabilities that it provides. Read about advisory and professional services that we provide in order to integrate a multi-cloud environment for you. And once you do that, or I'm sure that you will not have any challenges in terms of why you should not be going down this path. However, in case if you are feeling constrained from a time perspective, do feel free to drop in a note to me, and I will connect my services specialists who are present across the country who can help you to guide in terms of moving forward in the journey and clear out any issues that you have from a multi-cloud environment perspective. And trust me, HPE Greenlake will be able to not only fit in into this entire story, but will also elevate your entire experience of a multi-cloud hybrid cloud environment, and also give you transparency of usage, and also will be able to provide you prediction in terms of how your workloads should be moving in the future from a next 2 years perspective.
So, Anoop, any good examples? I don't know whether you would like to share the names of the customers, but without naming the clients, any good work, last year which HPE Greenlake has done. Love to hear it.
I can't take the names as of now because of confidentiality
Sure.
reasons, but I can tell you that no segment has remained untouched, whether it is IT, ITES customers, whether it is oil and gas customers, whether it is railways, whether it is banking customers. I think everybody today is moving to as a services model. Everybody wants to explore as a services model. And the beauty of HPE Greenlake is that it fits perfectly well into this environment when you're moving into a rapidly fast evolving organization's needs. From an IT perspective, they all can be fulfilled by HPE PointNext and precisely by HPE Greenlake from a consumption point of view. So each of these customers, when they thought about IT infrastructure and when they thought about moving to cloud, they actually just needed to see what our capabilities are from a Greenlake perspective. The moment they saw the HPE Greenlake central potential, I think we just took their entire imagination to the next level, and now it is all about what else can be delivered on those platforms.
Excellent. Before I go forward, just a small snippet about HP Point Next. Would you like to elaborate? Because you're leading this, you're a thought leader, and not only that, you're a country leader. So your sound bites on what is HP Point Next services.
Yeah. So PointNext is the services arm of HPE, which helps customers to move from their current point in the IT transformation journey to the next point.
So
to
it's
make it
as simple as
absolutely
that.
simple. Yeah,
Okay.
it's as simple as that. And then Greenlake helps customers to move in a hybrid cloud environment by both on-premises as well as off-premises solutions. And in the same manner, advisory and professional services helps customers to provide them guidance as to how to move on the digital transformation journey. And we work along with customers in diverse sectors in different fields to help them move in the journey in the manner such that the transformation goals are being met without any obstruction.
So thank you for this, very, very elaborate. So now I know about HPE Greenlake and HPE Point Next services, and you're a leader in that. Before we move ahead and wanting to ask you, so from here, before that, what are your thoughts on the new generation today, or the aspiring managers who are, going up to come on to, fill in your level or the CXO levels going forward? What is your word of advice for them? How should they equip themselves to navigate the future? I mean, one is technology stack and organization, but other is as individuals. So what is your angle for them?
Sure. I think it is as simple as one line statement from me, and that is never let your curiosity go down. And what it means is basically read as much as possible, because if you want to build a career in technology, if you want to go up in technology, if you want to be seen as a technology thought leader, then all that you need to do is to make sure that you read about technology every day in and day out, because technology is changing at a very fast pace. And what this means is that technologies which currently may seem unfeasible to you, technologies which you feel may not see light of the day from an implementation or execution point of view, remove those constraints because your competitor might already be thinking about it or may have already embarked onto that journey. So personally, when I look at technology, I don't look at technology only from a current timeline perspective. I look at technology as to what are the new technologies which will come and disrupt us in the next 5 years or 10 years. For example, like powerful technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, powerful technologies like blockchain have the potential to disrupt the entire ERP space. And if I talk about some of these technologies, then I can say that as the computing will actually grow over a period of time, and as our ability to process more data will increase, and that's where some of the thought leaders like HPE have taken that leap in faith in terms of how do we create massive computing at a massive scale. Once that is being sorted, I think some of these issues, which are the current constraints or challenges in terms of implementing these new technologies or seeing the use cases delivering the outcome as expected by the CDOs, CIOs, CEOs, CEOs, I think the future is just wonderful, beautiful, because once these constraints are removed, some of these technologies will become the future. And in the same manner, I think newer technologies will come and disrupt even these technologies in a period of next 1 to 2 years. And as I said, natural language programming, etc. If those see light of the day in next 10 years, then you will need massive computing, massive storage, massive networking, low latency, and then all that thing from a connectivity perspective. So I think from a future standpoint, there is a lot of excitement in the world of technology. My request and my suggestion to everyone is keep reading, keep yourself updated, and make sure that you are looking at technology without any barriers from the next 5 or 10 years ahead. And I can suggest one name. There is a historian who talks about technology, and his name is Yuval Noah Harari, and my personal favorite. And before that, I never knew that historians can provide such beautiful insights in terms of how technologist mindset should work. And he has written a book called Homo Deus, which talks about how in future human beings will become a superior species, and we will not be competing with machines. Rather, we will be living together, and AI will be looking at more human approach to the entire subject. And I think if that is the future, if that is the potential, then let's all prepare for it, because sustainability is the key, environment is the key from 2030 perspective, creativity is the key, and user interface, powerful user interfaces is the key, and technobiology, smarter cities, automation, those will be the central themes with AR, VR, etc., which will come and disrupt the way we think, the way we behave, and the way we use technology as of now.
So, wow. So, thank you for this rich insight. Um, Before we move on to the next topic, now I want to ask you a personal question. What is your opinion about the new generation? Do you think they are up to it? Are they going to be the next Anoop Chaturvedi? Will they be
Oh, they
problem
are
solvers?
faster than us. They are better than us. I think if somebody is to look at the potential of the new generation, I think you just need to spend some time. And there's this concept I believe you only introduced me to around around a decade back, about reverse mentoring. And I immediately worked along with somebody who was 15 years younger to me, and I was mesmerized the way they consume technology, the way they look at technology. More from the functional aspect, obviously, the complex technical jargons are mostly used by oldies like you and me, but they know how the
Thanks for
functionality
calling me
will
old.
work. Yeah, same here. So the only difference is I'm 20%, you are 100. So, so, but it's the same mix. If you see from ideation or from a creativity perspective, they are consuming technology 80% of the time, and we are consuming technology as a user. Now, in fact, that 20% has increased to almost 50% or so, I can say, because of COVID. But we are still not as much into it. They consume technology like nobody's business, and I think this generation is going to disrupt. And a generation which is just behind us, 10, 15 years younger than us, I think even they are faster, better than us. And I think I can only say that I'm going to watch out in next 10, 15 years with a cup of coffee in my hand and see how beautifully they emerge as the next generation technology leaders. So all the very best to all those who have joined today.
Oh, thank you. That was very rich. But if I nudge you a little further,
Yeah.
most of the youngsters have this feeling about entrepreneurship, or should they, this is a tough decade going ahead. It's a new normal. I'm not saying tough and tough. We just come out of COVID. We are rather struggling to come out of COVID, and which we will, I guess, by May, June. Vaccines are around the corner. So, what do you think the youngsters should do, or anyone, even a person like me, should do? Should we look at entrepreneurship, or should we, work? And this is one debate which I keep having with you as a thought leader.
Yeah.
So, what is your opinion?
No, I think it depends on person to person, because if somebody is looking at entrepreneurship, they can explore entrepreneurship within their own companies itself, and they don't need to really embark on a entrepreneurial journey as in like starting a new company altogether. People can innovate within their departments, within their service lines, within their companies. But at the same time, I think the potential that we have for the next generation is just amazing, even if somebody wants to embark on the journey of entrepreneurship as in a true entrepreneur. Because while there are ups and downs, and if somebody likes getting onto a ride and enjoys when the swing actually comes from top to down, and enjoys the pressure of gravity, and I think you can relate to it really well. If
Yes.
somebody loves that, then I think people just don't need to think about any barriers. It's just wonderful to explore. So I think there is no right answer to this, because everyone has their own way of looking at things. But I think entrepreneurship is not limited to starting a new venture. It is all about starting any new thing within the realm of your current work sphere, and that work sphere can be within your own company, or can be within your own department, can be within your line of business, or even starting a new company altogether. So there's no
Thank you.
right answer to it.
Right. So, it's really good of you to elaborate on entrepreneurship, because Google does it. I know most of the IT organizations now have caught on to the concept of entrepreneurship very well. 3M does it, I know for sure. And there are some Indian organizations who are really going into building entrepreneurs within the system. So you don't have to test the choppy waters outside, but you can actually
Correct.
build it yourself. And as you said, the youngsters and the young generation is fully geared up in the thought process to do this. Now, uh, Anoop, we have some more minutes left. So what about you? How's the future looking for you as a thought leader? Where are you going from here?
It's amazing. I think I'm always excited about the future, as I said. So, one thing is very clear, that I will keep on exploring technology. I will keep on working on technology. Maybe write a few blogs, share my views like how I'm sharing today in various forums, whether it is print, whether it is internet, whether it is television, because all three modes actually are catering to a different set of people. And as me as an individual, I think I am more excited about explaining technology in vernacular languages, Hindi being my favorite. And I think I would recommend to all the technologists to talk about technology in their respective language of the region, of a particular district, etc., so that kids in those areas actually understand technology and the true potential of technology, and embark onto that journey without any limitations, without any barriers.
Correct. So no, be it Dutch, be it German, be it Hindi,
Yeah.
be it Kannada, be it Tamil,
Be it Korean, be it Chinese. I think we just need to simplify it, we just need to beautify it, and we just need to tell people as this is the future, and we just need to make it simple for people to understand.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Anoop. Really nice of you to elaborate this, in such a nice way. And we will keep on debating whether entrepreneur or entrepreneur or, a professional. But according to you, all three are good as long as
Yeah,
you love what you do. Okay.
it's all in the mind. So you just need to set a mind free, and then you're free to experiment, explore, innovate, ideate, co-create.
Wow, you say things so fast. I don't know how you get them, but thank you for this, and really appreciate you, putting a soundbite for WEM, which is our no-code platform, and talking about the HPE Point Next services, where you take organization from the current way to the next point, and Greenlake, where everything is on demand. It is completely customized, flexible, and the customer has got so many options of this. So appreciate you coming here. And is there any last, few sentences you would like to say before we open the forum for Q&A?
No, I think we've spoken enough. Let's get a few questions bombarded on us so that we know about the ideas that are coming from other people as well.
Excellent. So let's wait for the Q&A. So to all the attendees, really appreciate you coming in here. Love to have your queries. In case you find a difficulty in typing, you can even um, you know talk, but typing is better so that we can also get the cues in as to which question has come first. Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll wait for the questions to come in, and then we can answer. We've got about 10 odd minutes where we can take these questions. Okay, so we wait.
No, we can always save time and close it earlier than that in case if there are no questions,
Uh,
as time is the next essential commodity of the future.
okay, so one question. So here's Manoj coming to you with a question. What is HP's plan in no code space in 2021, and which are the sectors you're planning to foray this year into solutions?
Um, uh, I'm sorry, I'll not be able to answer that because I'm speaking not on behalf of HPE, but as an independent opinion within my personal capacity. So I can tell you that no code is going to is going to make inroads into almost all the verticals that we are thinking about. Because in my independent capacity, whenever I'm talking to any CIO, I think everybody is looking at a very faster pace of application deployment, and that's where I think no code space is going to see a lot of traction. It's like a blue ocean thing as of now, and almost everybody wants to experiment with that. uh, and when such a movement actually happens across the globe, I think in times like these where people are taking experiences from different verticals, that will, I think, continue for some more time. And banking guys will not limit to banking only. They are looking at e-commerce companies. E-commerce companies are looking at startups which are coming from very disruptive different geographies, and together everybody is looking at the next generation as to how do they come and disrupt. And individuals and not corporations may be the ones who may create corporations or algorithms which may rule all of us, or which may be worth a few $1 billion. So I think times are really exciting from the next 10-year perspective. As of now, for 2021, I think no code in my personal capacity, I feel, is the place to be. And I think if somebody is not experimented, has not seen it, I think they are missing it out. And as I had requested you, Harsh, quite some time back, that I wanted to check out what is the potential, I was really blown away. I was really mesmerized when I looked at the potential of no code application development. And I think my suggestion to everybody would be to come out, explore, and see how it works beautifully well into your entire application development landscape, and makes it works like a catalyst. It expedites the reaction without changing the basic ingredients of the input as well as output.
So here the feeling is absolutely mutual, because the stable from which the thought process from which you come from, the HP Point Next services, amazing bunch of guys, really creative, really give value for money to the customer, and also your Greenlake, you know, very good platform to actually build things together. So I've got huge respect, and since I have that background and lineage, I think that's one thing which I would, request all the CIOs to look at, and take things forward. And we know whom to connect when it comes to the India geography. Okay. There's one question. What is the key differentiator for WEM and other code platforms? Oh, okay. The question is directed to me, Anoop,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Okay, so
No, fortunately, I think I want to hear that as well. Yeah.
okay, so the question is, what's the key differentiator between low code and no code platforms such as Packard, APN, and how to monitor if you're selling them to WEM to enterprise? Oh, it's very simple. Um, uh, WEM has got very high speed in app development. It's a truly no code platform. You can build a mobile app, uh, you can hold me to my word, in one day. You can build an enterprise mobile application in one day. Platform is completely responsive. Three facets where WEM really works well. One is, the TCO. It's completely and fully cloud compatible. It can be deployed on the data center. It can be deployed in a private cloud and in a public cloud. And TCO is fantastic. And if you want to know more about commercials, please do get in touch with me and connect. Um, there's another question which comes: will no code development overtake classical coding development? Will big companies adapt it? Good question. Will no-code development overtake classical coding? Yes, we believe so. And it's a matter of time. We believe by 2024, no-code will go ahead. But right now, it's still where CIOs are hesitant to use it for core banking or on a core applications like ERPs. But it's a matter of time before ERPs are moving on to no-code. So it's just a matter of shifting gears here. It will happen. We believe it will happen by 2024 to 2025. Will big companies adapt? Yes. Just like organizations have no choice but to look at a good flexible infrastructure which is on demand, like we've got Greenlake, where there is no choice. You'll have to move towards it. It's a matter of time. Same way about no code. There will be initial resistance, but when the whole world is moving, including the core applications getting deployed on no code, it's just a matter of time. Okay. Okay, so here we are. Any more questions before we take a break? It's 3:41. We've got 3 minutes more. So if there are no question, I would like to ask a question to Anoop. So we'll just wait. Okay, right now there are no questions coming. So Anoop, your question, from my side, and I asked you in the beginning. So you wear a blazer and go to customer sites now, or you still go without the blazer? Has it changed? You're muted, Anoop. Yep.
Yeah, that's the problem of technology platforms, right? The moderator can mute you anytime. So no, just on a lighter side. So yeah, no. So the jacket discussion. Yeah, I have started wearing the Nehru jacket, I think, or Modi jacket to be precise, and to be safe, I said Nehru as well as Modi jacket. But since it was not ironed, so I had to wear the jacket. But I love wearing those half jackets. So because I think the world has to evolve, jackets have to evolve as well, and they're easy to carry, very handy. Plus, it promotes Khadi Gramodyog.
Oh yeah, so you are a true blue, custodian of the heritage. So I know that you've done a lot of work around it. So last question, 2-3 sentences on your advice to all of us who are attending. So one was be curious. Is there anything else apart from that? There was be curious and read. So
yeah, be curious, read, ideate, co-create, innovate. Don't stop that. Whether it is in your business, whether it is in your business processes, or whether it is in technology. It is not limited to only one field, or whether it is related to your personality development, right? So
okay.
Whatever it is, ideate, co-create, and innovate.
Thank you very much, Anoop. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you after so many years.
Same here.
And as I said, I'm one of your big fan followers, as I explained in the beginning. And love to have you back here again, time and time, because it's always great to interact with you. Thank you very much.
It was a distinctive pleasure on my side as well. I think it was just amazing to talk to you. And thanks to you, I got to know about the no-code environment a couple of months back. And I think I'm really excited about the potential that it brings for all the enterprise customers of ours, no matter where they are, which geography they are, or which vertical they belong to. So I think all the very best to WEM, to you, as well as to all the customers who want to embark on the journey of transformation now.
Thank you. Thank you, Anoop.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you all for joining our discussion. Look forward for the next webinar to have you here. Thanks a lot.